Hello, how's it going? I'm Dr. Talorico, and today I'm going to talk about a man's topic. We did ladies' topics. We talked about hair loss, and things like that for ladies. There's a video in this page about that. Now we're going to talk about manly stuff, testosterone. So I have on the board a schematic, a drawing of testosterone and testosterone metabolism. So we're going to start off with just explaining what some of this stuff is. I like to make drawings. I like to write on stuff. I just like to engage that way. So testosterone is the primary male hormone made by the testes. It's controlled in part by your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, and your testes. So there are feedback loops. It's called HPTA, hypothalamus pituitary testicular axis. So your brain tells your body to make testosterone. It makes testosterone. Boom. There it is. The big happy red T. And it has a range in the blood. So we measure total testosterone. That's the free and the bound, and I'm going to explain what that is in a minute. But the total testosterone at 250 to 1100 nanograms per deciliter. The ideal range I like to see is about 700 to 800, 900, depending on what the person is. The 2s and the 3s, the guy doesn't feel like himself. He doesn't feel vigorous. He doesn't feel powerful. He may feel tired. He may be depressed. He may not have sexual desire like he used to have. So we want those ranges to be higher. And there's a couple reasons why that'll be low. We'll get to it. But when your body makes testosterone, there's two versions. There's the bound, and the bound is attached to something called sex hormone binding globulin. And so how much bound testosterone you have is basically an indication of how much inactive testosterone you have. So we want to look at the free, that's a measurement, and the total. So these are lab values. And in here I've also written in parentheses what I like to see. So that is the beginning of the synthesis. So you make testosterone, it goes into your blood. Some of it's bound and some of it is free. Your body then converts testosterone to two different things. One of them is converted here into a female hormone called estradiol. Estradiol is a strong estrogen. So see the little lady and the little heart over here? That's why. So if you find yourself, crying at every commercial for, the Humane Society or something like that, you might have a little bit too much of this. So, and this happens a lot. Unfortunately, it's not measured much in men, and it should be. It should be measured all the time because men can convert too readily to estradiol. This can cause all types of things: anxiety, depression, sexual dysfunction. So in men, we like it to measure less than 39 picograms per milliliter, with the ideal range being 20 to 30. So we want this to be in a range. So we don't want this to be too high. We don't want it to be too low. We don't want it to be zero. Believe it or not, there are reasons that your body, a male body, has estrogen. You need it. You need it for a number of different things. It's cardioprotective, so it protects your heart and your vessels. You need it to balance out your emotions. You need it to maintain sexual function. So you get your estrogen level too low and you lose sexual function. There's ample research that shows that you need a certain amount of estrogen to have erections. So, but not too much. So it's the Goldilocks of that. So For guys, we need some, we don't need too much. And it really is, I joke and say that you're maybe tearing up at a commercial, but there's actual truth to that. It changes how your brain works. So your brain has androgen receptors, it has estrogen receptors. It's the reason why men and women think differently, act differently, because we're different. So it's important. So the other thing is now testosterone can go towards that direction, the feminizing direction, via the aromatase enzyme that turns testosterone into estradiol. Testosterone can also be turned into DHT, dihydrotestosterone. So dihydrotestosterone is the thing that we identify with maleness. Facial hair, guys who have real high DHT levels may lose their hair, like going bald a little bit on top, like I am. It's sexual function. It's the masculine thing. It's the quality of masculinity that you identify with men. You know, like it's not so much that it builds a bunch of muscle, but it is good for strength. So high androgen, it's a very high androgen. It's more androgenic than testosterone. And so when that level's high, you have more physical strength, which means you can activate more muscles. So that's also part of maleness as well. Women do not have this. So that's one of the reasons why, in addition to larger body size, that men are stronger is because we have DHT and we have high testosterone levels relative to women. So there's an enzyme called 5-alpha reductase that turns testosterone into DHT. So we want this to be between 16 and 79. The ideal range is between 40 and 50. So we have Superman, and then you see how these triangles are like this. You see how this triangle is like that. That's more like the ladies' side. This is the men's side. This is the, so you have that. This level could be off. So it could be sickness, it could be stress, it could be a number of things. But our range is between 10 and 50 nanomoles. So we don't want this number to be too high. So here's the thing. When we look at testosterone for men, there are ways of mitigating every enzyme reaction, and there's ways of mitigating this. But you have to have good lab values first. So you have to have good measurements first. So if your doctor only goes, well, we measured your total testosterone and it was 600, so you must be okay, but your free is only 20, you're not okay. And your estrogen is at 45 and your DHT is low, you're not feeling like a man. You're not feeling like your masculine self. So there are ways of mitigating every one of these things. Nutrition. So in order to make testosterone is made from cholesterol, some good foods are eggs and meats, good fat-containing foods. If you're a vegan, a lot of vegans do have problems with hormones, especially cholesterol-based hormones. So you might need to supplement some things, take additional fats. I really like eggs and good quality ghee or butter or good sources, decent oils, but your body is going to make a certain amount of cholesterol and then some intake as well. You also need zinc, which is a mineral. You also need iron. You also need magnesium. Then you need the cofactors, the B vitamins and things. If your estrogen levels start to get high, you can do things like supplement with stuff called DIM, diindolylmethane, or indole-3 carbinol. These are rich in cruciferous vegetables like Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower. And so you can do some things there. And then the DHT, generally there's less, it's less impacted, but there are some things, some herbs that are available. They're in supplement formulas. It's a little hard to mess with. There are a couple of supplements that you can use to lower the activity of DHT by giving it a substrate or something else to act on. And then sex hormone binding globulin, there are herbs that contribute here. Nettle root would be one that I could think of. There's a couple of others as well. And if you want that, you can always contact me about that. But this is how cholesterol works in a, not cholesterol, this is how testosterone works in a man. So you have big T, you have E, you have DHT, and you have the bound testosterone. These are all the things you want to check when you do a blood test. The total, the free, the DHT, the estradiol, and the sex hormone binding globulin. That's a good male hormone workup. That would be the one I would write. That would be the one I would look at. That would be the one I would jump off from in terms of seeing how I could help a guy feel better. So that's important. Just take a look at that. If there's questions, put them in here. If you got value from this video, like and share it so another guy can take a look at this. Maybe this will help him. That's it. That's all I have for tonight. Questions, leave in the thread. I'll see you next time around. This is Dr. Talorico. Have a good night.